Call Halalim La, Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem Rakakwadash. Double honors to the head apostles of GMS and a salute to you Watkins that are tuning in. I'm just serving the bar of GMS Boston. Coming back with just, another quick impromptu lesson. This is going to be not too long. And I was scrolling through RT. Came upon this article here which says Russia seeks to end U.S. dominated world order. Lavrov. All right, so here we got, this is the foreign ministry of Russia. All right, and this man right here tells it like it is. He holds nothing back, and he clearly tells the world that pretty much this is all caused by America. Now, America, unbeknownst, is the hammer of the world, all right, as it's written in the scriptures. All right, this is the hammer that the elites, the people that are in power, all right, the elites of Esau, Edom, the so-called white man use in order to go around and keep their strong, their grip on the world. All right, this is their military might. All right, and pretty much you got Russia and China and these other countries that these elites don't quite have that hold of yet. And this is why everything is going on. It's all about control. All right. And this is nothing more than, two thieves, right, of the same nation not being able to agree with each other on the spoils. All right. On the goods. The reason why I say thieves is because so-called white man has stolen most of the world, man. Europe is not even theirs. All right. Really, they're not really Europeans. All right. Because the so-called white man goes back to Petra. All right. Known as Mount Seir. All right. And really, America it's common knowledge that, the so-called Europeans, didn't discover America. There was people already here. And the other parts of the world. All right. So the world don't belong to them. Right. Don't belong to the Russians, nor the Americans. All right. It don't belong to the elites or any of you heathens for that to that point, because it belongs to the nation of Israel. All right. The Lord, the Heavenly Father, designed this world and everybody else for our sakes. The scriptures say that, man. It was for our sakes, so that we can have people to rule over. All right, so we could be distinct from all people. All right, so that the Lord can say he has a chosen people. All right, that's the whole reason why the Lord has a chosen people. Because if everybody was of the Lord, there won't be such a distinction as a chosen people. He wouldn't have a chosen people, but he has a chosen people because there's other people in the world. There's other people that are not of his fold, of his chosen. Now, he said an important quote here. It says, our special military operation is meant to put an end to the unabashed expansion of NATO. And and America hasn't been contested at all. It's been a strong superpower ever since World War II. It says, and the unabashed drive toward full domination by the U.S. Now, let me translate that. All right. When they say unabashed drive towards full domination by the U.S., is really talking about these elites, because America is nothing more than a corporation, which is why you have a CEO, chief executive officer, such as the president. All right. You have every company has a president. All right. And now when the company makes the proceeds, they all go to the top, the board, now the president is nothing more than a puppet that's owned by the international bankers, man. So really, this is saying that, their drive towards, the elites drives toward full domination, because it's not the U.S. All right. And it says, and its Western subjects on the world stage, because they control the money, and it starts with these Amalekites. They control the propaganda, they control the media, the money. We've always been saying this, man. The people that you don't see that are in the background. They have all the gold reserves. All right. You know, they're the ones that pretty much set up coups. You know, they're the ones that pretty much will bomb you if you want to get rid of that almighty dollar. You know, that's worthless. All right, which is nothing but fiat note. All right. So it says and its Western subjects on the world stage. Lavrov told Rossiya 24 News Channel, this domination is built on gross violations of international law and under some rules, which they are now hyping so much and which they make up on a case-by-case basis, he added. And, you know, that's the thing with America, man. America's a hypocritical country. You know, they talk about world rules and human right violations and war crimes when they themselves are knee deep into war crimes and international law violation. You know, to name a few, the invasion of Iraq, Afghanistan, you know, I would say even Vietnam. You want to take it back to the 60s. These are all in violation of international law, which they invade a country, you know, that is a free sovereign country, and they just go and invade it for no particular reason, just because a country claims that they don't want to follow, or they don't want to buy, that they don't want to sell their goods in dollars. Now they go invade you. You know, this is why they hung Omar Gaddafi, right? And they change it, man, because he saw the so-called white man as a double-minded man, and his laws don't work. You know, when something doesn't work, that's when you change it, right? If something works, you keep it, right? But his laws, you know, and his statutes don't work because they're not of the scriptures. They're not, you know, in righteousness, because righteousness means that, you know, is according to the law, statutes, and commandments of the Heavenly Father. You know, and that's the right way, because that's who created everything. It's telling you that's the right way. Now, let me get into the scriptures. Isaiah 10:1. Woe unto them that decree unrighteous decrees and that write grievousness which they prescribe. Right. Because eventually all these nations are going to turn on Esau, Edom, man, on themselves. You know, you can only play the game so long in wickedness, you know, before pretty much it comes down on you. You know, America has been pretty much sitting in bed with all these kings and making false promises, you know, switching up laws like that devil said, Lavrov. You know, he said they make up laws on a case-by-case basis, right? So, you know, America sits in bed, you know, with all these different presidents of the world, you know, and you know, tries to get them to conform to their ways, but they keep changing it when their ways doesn't go the way they want it to go. This is why this whole feud with China is going on, right? Because China has caught up to their game, you know, and now they declared a trade war. Now they declare some type of war, right? And eventually, what's going to happen is that these nations are going to get fed up, you know, of this big bully that's always bullying everybody. You know, because he's a little bit bigger, and eventually what they're gonna do is they're gonna come at him with everything they got, which is everything they got is nuclear. All right, and this is what we're talking about, a nuclear war, which is fast approaching. There's gonna be nuclear war, all right, and America's gonna lose, man. Thus saith the Bible. Okay, America will be completely destroyed, presuming in Revelations the 18th chapter. Okay, Jeremiah 51:7. Says, Babylon have been a golden cup in the Lord's hand that made all the earth drunken. The nations have drunken of her wine. Therefore, the nations are mad. And that wine is going into what? That philosophy, you know, democracy, you know, and when you go into democracy, you know, that is that way of life, that way of living, that American lifestyle, you know, doesn't really convene anybody, right? And when you don't want to live by a democratic way, you know, then wars waged upon you. You see, but not everybody wants to live by through democracy, man, in the world. You know, and you know, eventually people, you know, these heathens, These other nations, the Lord's gonna put a spirit on them to go to full out war. All right. And there's nothing new. The Lord has always confounded our enemies. Okay, and all these heathens, starting with the so-called white men, are the enemies of Israel, man. All right, and Israel of the Bible, the real Israel of the Bible, is you so-called blacks, Negro, Native Americans, and Latinos. Okay, you are the real Israelites, and this is why when these nations come together, they don't talk about you. They don't give a shit about you. They don't care about the situation of Hispanic countries. Shit, you had Manuel Lopez Obrador from Mexico who gave a speech. He said, we don't give a shit. We're neutral in this. We have nothing to do, because the so-called white man always invades our country. They did it with the French. They tried it. The American cavalry went over there. They tried. They stole Texas and stole New Mexico. So he was like, we don't give a shit, and rightfully so. Rightfully so. We want the destruction of these devils, man, because they were devils back then. They still devils, man. All right. We don't give a shit about what's going on over there. Putin can bomb the hell out of over there. Who gives a shit, right? Because they don't have Jake in their best interest, man. Ain't nobody in the Ukraine talking about when they were in their good stances. None of them go to the G20 talking about let's help Guatemala, let's help Mexico, Brazil, or any country where Jake is, or so-called blacks. Or why don't they do an outcry for what's happening here in America with all the police killings of Jake, right? But there's no outcry about that, man. Now, Putin goes over there, now it's all kind of cries, right? People are silly, man. Jeremiah 50:23. How is the hammer of the whole earth cut asunder and broken? How is Babylon become a desolation among the nations? And that hammer only sees a nail. And that's America, man. America is that hammer that only sees a nail. This is why there's an American embassy in almost every country. The American military is pretty much all throughout the four corners of the earth, ready. All right. So this is that hammer, man. That's that hammer. And America is Babylon the Great. Okay, spoken of in the scriptures, because the word Babylon means confusion. This is the land of confusion. All right. And pretty much, man, I said this wasn't going to be too long. Of course, it's to bring out some edification that, eventually there will be a war. We're on the precipice of World War III. This war is soon, fast, quick, in a hurry, getting hot, man. So there's going to be a third world war. The Lord is going to deliver. It's going to save his elect men, all right, from nuclear fire, man, which is that lake of fire that the Apostle John the Revelator saw in the island of Patmos, right? That fire, was from them nukes, all right? So this is what we hope for and wait for, man. To praying that the Lord Yahweh Bashem Yahushua has mercy on us to get deliverers out of that shit, man. Because that's a horrible death, man. That's the death of an Edomite, because they're destined to die by fire, man. All right, they're destined to die by fire, and all these nations are going to launch nukes. All these nations. Scriptures say, he that bendeth the bow, shoot at her and spare no arrows. Okay, those arrows is talking about those ICBM missiles that are going to be shot here to America by all these other nations, man. All right, so, the end is coming. It's almost here. It's near. So, best repent. All right, so with that, I'm going to say,